Welcome back, football fans. I'm AJ Mazzolini of the Missoulian.
And I'm Bill Speltz, Griz beat writer for the Missoulian.
And we're here for our weekly installment of Griz Tracks. The Griz Cat game was just over the weekend, and the Grizzlies finished out the regular season with a win over in Bozeman, 28-14 victory, although neither team really looked very good at the beginning of that game.
Yeah, the Griz really struggled offensively, tried to get the running game going, and it just didn't pop for them there. And I think they had one first down in the first quarter, and then it started to roll for them in the second quarter, and they put some things together. I credit Jordan Johnson, again, with a couple of big runs to get the offense going, and then after that, some really important passes to keep them going.
Yeah, they've been trying to establish that run, but I mean, just for the last couple weeks, it looks like they're trying to go right in between the tackles, and there's just nowhere to go.
It's interesting. It's going to be interesting a week from Saturday to see if they can get it going. Teams are playing them. They're playing up to force them to throw the ball, and they're trying to. Montana State doubled Ellis Henderson and pretty much took him out of the game.
Yeah.
Fortunately, Jamal Jones had a nice game for him, his biggest game as a Grizzly, and he did that with turf toe. So hopefully he can get healed up along with a lot of the other guys that are a little sore.
Yeah, that's right. And again, 2 weeks from now, the Grizzlies will be playing in that sort of second round of the playoffs. They get a bye with the win over the Cats, but we'll get into that here in just a little bit. Back to the Cats Griz game here. The defense had one of their best outings in a while. And I mean, what you were saying, one touchdown in 10 quarters or so that they've allowed now.
Yes, it's been really impressive, especially I think the secondary. They just said Denarius McGee, the Bobcats quarterback, had a hard time finding open receivers, I thought. And I thought he was a little hesitant to run the ball. He suffered an injury earlier in the season, so he just couldn't get anything going, with the exception of that one drive that they had for a touchdown. Other than that, Montana did a dynamite job. Brock Coyle, today, Coach Delaney talked about how he kind of played like a man possessed. He was in his hometown and
played at home. He had a couple forced fumbles and a ton of tackles, 12, 14, somewhere in that region.
Definitely. Outstanding player, and I was surprised that he didn't get first team all-conference, but I'm sure he's not going to let that bother him at this point in the season.
Right. And the Cats did have a big drive toward the end of the game, but the Grizzlies answered that and pretty much put the thing out of reach. But again, the defense played well, but the last couple weeks, it's not like they've been playing against offenses that are exactly clicking. Cats were banged up. Cats did not look like the team that they were at the beginning of this year, and then Weber State 2 weeks ago. I mean, what do we really know about what this defense can do?
We don't really know, and you look at the competition they've faced. Give them credit. It's hard to win 4 games in a row. I think they've won 7 out of their last 8. But there are some questions going into the playoffs. They're going to have a team that comes here with a record of 11-2. We know that because either potential opponents are both 10-2 right now. They're going to have to focus in and get off to a good start, I think.
Yeah, but before that, the Griz are going to get a bye week, something that I'm sure they're very happy to have at this point in the season. Get some of those injuries out of the way. With the lost Cats out of the playoffs, so unfortunately they don't get to worry about anything like a bye week because they get a couple bye months now until the next football season. But Grizzlies don't play this weekend. Maybe heal up a little bit.
Yeah, it sounds like Coach Delaney is going to give them an extended period off. They have played a lot of weeks in a row. They've had some real close games. They've had a couple overtime games, and I'm sure that all adds up. It takes its toll physically. Coach Delaney talked as much about how mentally it takes its toll. They've had a couple overtime games. So they're going to, after practice on Wednesday, they're going to leave for Thanksgiving, and they won't be back until Sunday. So it's going to be a nice rest period, and hopefully they can hit the ground running in practice next week.
A little bit of time off there. Let's take a look into the bracket here. The Grizzlies are going to get the winner of Bethune-Cookman and Coastal Carolina. A couple teams from way on the other side of the country here. It doesn't matter who wins that game. They have a long road trip ahead of them.
Most definitely, and those are nice areas. Coastal Carolina is right near Myrtle Beach there, so either way, they're going to be in the air flying, I would say, probably at least 5 hours. You go over 2 time zones. I think all that stuff adds up, plus playing in the cold weather. I talked to Jordan Kennett a little bit about that, and You get hit a couple of times pretty hard in the arms, and your arms go numb. It's harder to hold onto the football, so they'll have to get adjusted to that, the opponent of the Griz.
That's for sure. And then the next week, Grizzlies have a potential matchup if they can get by Bethune-Cookman and or Coastal Carolina, and they have that matchup with North Dakota State out there on the horizon, a team that hasn't lost in a couple years now, and they're defending champs, two-time defending champs. They've been beating everybody, so that could be an interesting one to look forward to, or maybe a scary one that could be ending somebody's season for sure. Then, down below that in the bracket, we have another Big Sky team playing Sam Houston State. That's Southern Utah. That's a team with some good defense in the Big Sky. Sam Houston State they know the Big Sky a little bit too. They've been playing a couple teams from around here.
Most definitely, they were able to beat Eastern Washington earlier in the season, and anybody who can beat Eastern Washington, we all know that they beat Oregon State, and they've had a dynamite season. So they're a tough team. It's a tough matchup for Southern Utah, and so we'll see how good their defense is. They played well. They shut down the Cats. That win doesn't look quite as impressive now, but. The Big Sky Conference got 4 teams through, so they showed them a lot of respect, and we'll see how they fare now with these opportunities.
That's right, and 2 of them in the same section of the bracket, way over here. We got Northern Arizona playing this week. They got a home game that felt like maybe they were a little disrespected, though. It sounded like they finished above the Grizzlies in Big Sky Conference standings, and yet they still have to play this weekend against South Dakota State.
Most definitely, and you can understand why Northern Arizona would be upset. Montana went down there, and the Lumberjacks beat them quite handily, I thought. And obviously, Montana would like to play that game over again because they had a few key fumbles. But Northern Arizona, it's one of those things. If they can get by South Dakota State, which won't be easy, then to play Eastern Washington on the red turf there, that could be a fun game. 2 teams that can light up the scoreboard, and Northern Arizona with a dynamite defense, a very fast defense. See if they can give Vernon Adams some trouble. They didn't play during the regular season.
Yeah, that's right. And Eastern Washington got the number 3 seed. They also got the bye, so they'll be resting up a little bit right now this week as well, and enjoying their Thanksgiving. And then down in the 4th quadrant of the brackets, the only one that doesn't have a Big Sky Conference team in it, top seed down there. Eastern Illinois, they've been a dangerous team all year long. They came within 1 score of knocking off Northern Illinois, which is a team that's ranked 14, 16, somewhere in that region in the BCS right now as well. And, man, they have a quarterback who can throw it around just about as well as anybody in the Big Sky, your Vernon Adamses, and those kind of folks as well. Jimmy Garoppolo, yeah, that's it. He's thrown for 4,500 yards, 48 touchdowns this year, so that's a team that could definitely make some noise, and you probably expect to see a little bit later on in this bracket as well.
Obviously, the voters in the Sports Network poll, they always kept that team, Eastern Illinois, ahead of Eastern Washington, so a lot of respect there. I don't know, I thought as the season went on, how can you not vote Eastern Washington number 2 based on their win over Oregon State? But anyway, we'll find out. That's what's great about the playoffs. You get to match the teams with the East with the West and find out just how good the Big Sky was this season.
Exactly. That's why you got to love the FCS. And again, no game this weekend for the Grizzlies, but read the Missoulian for our continued coverage through the bye week, and we'll be back next week to discuss who the Grizzly opponent will be. Check out Griz Tracks then, and thanks for tuning in, and have a happy Thanksgiving.